Go to ymhvirtual.com right now and get tickets to the third YMH Live. Crazy guests and crazier content. Hey guys, we're doing something a little different today. There are people that I've wanted to have long-form conversations with, just one-on-one, that it doesn't really feel like it's best for the Your Mom's House podcast format. And that's what we're going to be trying to do. So it'll be sometimes, maybe a sports person, a business personality, somebody in the arts who you just go, I'd rather just be a conversation than do the Your Mom's House, clip kind of show. So I'm really hoping you guys enjoy it. I'm really excited to bring today's guest to you. I had a great time talking to him. He's a 17-year NFL vet and, of course, a Hall of Famer. Really interesting guy. So here's my conversation with Tony Gonzalez.
This shit is big time!
Who is Randy?
Don't bring anyone mother into this.
Your mom in the fucking stand!
All right. Thank you very much for joining us. Says here you used to play football. What was that like?
It was a lot of fun.
Thanks. No, that would be. Have you done interviews like that where, like sometimes for me, they'll go. The best is when they go, "Hey, I'm on the road," and they're like, "Hey, man, you're gonna be in, Chicago. There's these radio station. They really want to have you on," and you're like, "Well, we're coming in from Detroit." And they're like, they're big fans, and then you're like, "Okay," and then you show up, and they're like, "So, how do you get on Netflix?" And you're like, what the fuck? Like, that's your question? How do you get on Netflix? Like, have you had somebody be like, the NFL, that must be hard.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Piece of cake. Piece of cake. For a comedian,
yeah,
it's got to suck. Just, you come in there and they're like, hey, be funny.
It's the worst.
Do something funny.
That's when I have a personality that doesn't work with that. So like when they're like, you're ready to be funny, I shut down and then I'll tank it on purpose. Like,
really?
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I don't want to be a part of anything you do. So like I've done radio shows where like you're like, they go, you arrive, you can like the best ones are when they're engaged. Like they're actually asking, questions that make sense and like shows that they're interested in, like a good interview. Right. And then the ones that are the worst you'll show up and the guy's like, reading something. Then he's like, hey, and you're like, okay. And then he's like, all right, we're coming back. And what do you want me to ask you? And you're like, whatever you want to know. What do you mean what I want you to? They're like, well, I'll set you up. And I'll be like, nope. And then you see them panic because they're like, hey man, are you going to give me something to say? Because I'm lazy and I don't know what to ask you. And I'll be like, no, just go ahead, man. And then the thing starts and they're like, it says you were born in Cincinnati. And you're like, yeah. And they're like, is that the question that where was I born? Sure, man, we could do this. I mean, I don't know. For a radio guy to just be like, be funny, to me, it sets me in. What's the worst, like, the question to get from, like, in sports? Like, when you're doing interviews? Or what would you roll your eyes at the most?
I don't know. I think it's just... Because I think it's different though. I don't know if it's the same as being a comedian. But there's coming in, they're like, you got to be funny.
Yeah, they do. They definitely
know
do
about
that.
like, oh, what do you think about this game? Yeah, that's usually it. What do you think? What do you think the chances are for such and such to go all the way this year? And you're like, okay, well, and then, but I don't know. That's easy. I don't have to be funny.
That's true. I mean, there's so many, like, as somebody I've like just loved football my whole life, and you see things that are, like. Things that I kind of go, of course now, when you hear the coverage is hey, there's a game coming up. What are the keys to the game? And they're like, can't turn the ball over. And
yeah. You're like,
that is
wow.
insightful, man.
That's what we do in our business now. Yeah. That's since I made that transition, obviously going to now in front of the camera and people want to know. I figured it out. It took me a while to figure it out that people don't, anybody can sit up there and talk. You could do that. Yeah. You could read the scouting report and go, well, they run cover 2 and they blitz 50% of the time. And just, it's like, it's what Terry Bradshaw and Howie and Michael working with those guys now. I've seen that it's entertainment. Terry always says that. Like, we're in the entertainment business. We're not just telling, okay, cover 2 splits.
That's true.
We got to have a good time. So.
Yeah, that's true. So it's like what you end up getting invested in as the viewer is the chemistry. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to hear these guys talk about football, but I do want to see like some laughs and see that they get. I don't want to watch people that don't get along, right? Like no one wants to see. Oh, there's real friction between Terry Bradshaw and Tony. Like, you know, that's not going to be fun to watch. And I like a little bit more, like, there's levels to the knowledge of the game. And so, like, as somebody, like, you know, I'm like probably like a lot of fans where I played high school football, Pee-wee and high school football. And you go, and I've watched football ever since then. I like college football. I like the NFL. I love getting like that little bit of extra knowledge where it's like, it's just more than you know as a regular fan.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, learning about shit that you guys, you know, that happens like cadences or, you know, all of a sudden you guys pull up a thing and you go, see how in this formation, it's a tell. Like for some reason, this linebacker clearly studied tape because he's look right before the snap, he's dipping back a few yards. Yeah. And you go like, oh, I never would have put that together. But you guys study the film or whatever, watch it, and now as the viewer, you feel like you're almost have knowledge that you shouldn't have. You know, it's like extra insight. That's entertaining to me. Yeah. You know, that's entertainment.
Yeah. I love it. That's the way I try to do it. I always tell people, I just want people to pretend like the only thing missing is our beer up here. Yeah. When we're on in front of the camera. Sure. And then giving good information. Really, that comes from, I think, like people want to hear stories too. Yes. Like back when I was in the locker room, Julio Jones, you should have, you know, Julio Jones. Right? Like he jumped a 12-foot ceiling and touched it with two hands.
All those, dude.
Yeah, and you're like.
The freak athletic stories are, I think everybody that likes sports wants to hear that. Like, hey, man, this guy touched the top of the backboard. And there was like witnesses, you know, like shit like that. I don't know. I mean, that's everybody loves like combine times, you know, like those Dion stories, like he ran them in fucking, I don't know, slippers or something.
Yeah, he gets out of the limousine and didn't even warm up and ran it backwards and ran 4-2.
Or that what's the story about him on draft day or something, or pre-draft, and the Giants give him the play, like their playbook or something.
I didn't hear this one.
You didn't hear that one?
No.
Where it was like he's doing, you know, like the pre-draft interviews. I mean, this is obviously 87 or 88, I guess. Pre-draft interview. And he meets with them, and they have some type of binder, and they're like, "Hey, we want to ask you." And he hands it back, and they're like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "When y'all pick?" And they're like, "4th." He's like, "I won't be around there." And he just walked out, like shit like that. I mean,
you had the balls for that. That's what I love about. That's why he's so good on TV or anybody who you just can't give a shit. Yeah. And us as athletes, this is why I think athletes. It's hard for most of us to make that transition to television, because you being a comedian, by the way, you get to say whatever the hell you want. Yeah. You can cuss, you can talk about politics, you can talk about race, sexual orientation.
People still get mad, by the way.
Yeah, but you don't care.
Yeah, that's true.
You guys are the freest people in society.
I think you're right. I think we're the freest people now that you can control your own space and like your own content. But you rewind just before this current age, and comedians would definitely toe the line more. I mean, like, I think so. I mean, there's always the ones who didn't ever give a fuck and just
like Eddie Murphy, right?
Yeah, like, you know, Roseanne, like she was just like saying shit, doesn't care. Yeah. But also, I think, you know, you have to weigh that those people are super successful, so they're like, you know, if people get mad, it's not going to affect my ability to work. But I think the difference is right now you have all these comics have their own platforms, their own, you know, channels and shows, and they're not relying on, will NBC still consider me for something? Yeah. Because if NBC's going to be upset by something, then I should pull back. Like, that's starting to erode. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And as athletes, we there's only so many jobs out there for television. I mean,
did you want to do it? Like when you were playing?
I was preparing for it. I had a show out in Kansas City that Marcus Allen had first. It was called The Locker Room Show, and it was just for local television. And so when he left, I got there in '97. I played with Marcus, and then which a boy coming from LA playing with Marcus Allen was pretty damn cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But so when he left, I took over the show for 3 years or whatever. So that kind of got me going.
But like that's also like in the plans, right? You're like, this is going to end playing, and then that's what
I didn't know if I was really going to do it, but I knew that if it was in there, I'm like, shit, I better get ready then, just in case. Yeah. If I do want to do it, I don't want to look like an idiot. You know,
dude, how are you walking around? Let's start with this. So, like, I mean, you like all these stories, and you see like Real Sports, and they're like, this guy played 5 seasons, and now he looks at a board to spell words that a computer will say for him, like crazy brain damage. Guys are like, my knees don't, my hips. Yeah. And then like you see someone like you played 17 seasons in the NFL. You're like, hey, what's up, man? Like, how the fuck are you put together?
I got lucky. Yeah. I do believe that genetically too. Like some people are just running down the field now. Yeah. And you see him like he tore his ACL and nobody even touched him.
That's true.
So that never happened to me. I think it's luck, but because there were so many times where I'm blocking and the defensive, let's say our offensive lineman threw his player on the ground next to me, and my coach is like, "Shit, don't look at this right here."
Right.
And I look at it on film.
And you're like,
and it's not. It's like a half of a second. He's if you didn't lift your foot up, you'd be done for the year. I've had that happen a bunch of times.
Sure.
So it's luck right there. But then also when you're like, you look at Gronkowski.
Yes.
Of the tight end, great tight end. His career got shortened because I think his style of play. Mm-hmm. It's very like Jeremy Shockey. I don't know if you remember it.
Of course.
From New York, where he catches the ball and he's coming like, I'm coming to run your ass over.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get as many yards as I can. Like to me, there's a time and place for that. I would do that, but I also
would finesse it.
I'd finesse it a lot. And I think that was my basketball background where it was like, hey, you got to use a little finesse here. Get your ass down, like Russell Wilson right now.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be able to play for a long time, where I look at Dak Prescott, where he got hurt. Yeah. And his foot was sideways, and
that was rough, dude.
I was so sad for him, but then at the same time, I was like, "What do you like? You got to get down, bud. I mean, you got to live to fight another day." Like Russell Wilson, I doubt that would happen. And then there's freak accidents; you never know. But
of course,
you got to. I don't know. I always felt like,
but it is like a combination of these things, right? Because like you like I said, first there's like the average NFL career thing where it's like 3 seasons, like so you not only surpass that like by multiples. But to be healthy, I mean, it is pretty. I mean, so you're saying though that part of that is yes, your genetics and it's lucky, but it's that you were also playing smart.
I was always trying to play smart. So taking the hit when the guy comes over the middle and I see I'm about to take a shot. Sometimes I would stop my feet, and you probably couldn't even tell, but I would stop running right before he hits me, and then I would jump back as he's hitting me, and so. The crowd would go, ooh, like it's a big hit. And I'd be like,
I'm protecting my body, actually.
I protect my body, and I'm fine.
Yeah.
And the guy can get up and celebrate, but I'm fine. Because
did you tell other players this? Like, as you became like, also like, hey, man, you're going to fucking die. Well, take care of yourself.
Well, you tell people, but they don't.
They don't care. They don't. Because I remember, this is another Miami dude, speaking of shock, Brendan Merriweather. Was that? It was Merriweather. Uh-huh. He was a...
The defensive back?
Yes, the defensive back.
Nail people. Yeah, I used to go.
That's what I'm saying, though. But like he would crown hit people all the time.
Yeah.
And then, the NFL, there was like a period where it became like you're used to seeing that. And then they were like, we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
But he would still do that.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're getting fined.
Yeah.
You're knocking yourself out and on top of other people. But it's like, I guess what I'm saying is it doesn't matter how many people probably told him, like, stop doing that.
Stop doing it.
It's just like.
So I remember playing against him, and before the game even started, I went up to him, because he had hit a couple of guys' knees and blew out their knees, and I said, "Hey, man, relax. Don't go to my knees, okay?"
You would actually say that?
I would tell him that, before the game, and then he'd be like, "All right, well, don't try and run me over then. Don't make me look stupid. We'll take care of each other." And I said, "Yeah," and I said, "Well, if I have you if you're in front of me, and you see me and I see you, I'm gonna do what it takes." And the same thing, come knock the shit out of me if you can.
Yeah.
But if I'm not looking, don't hit me down low.
Yeah.
Just hit me up top. I promise you. Like, I was like, I'm not saying I'll go down, but I mean, just do that. And, and he would do that. And during the game, I remember one time he hit me.
Yeah.
And he comes up and he goes, "Hey, I could have got you there. I could have got you there." And I'm like, "Thank you, man.
Thank you. Okay. How often, how common was that type of conversation?
I bet it wasn't common at all.
No, but I mean, not just specific about, hey, him and and the way he's tackling. Was like the pre-game, hey, dude, like let me holler at you for a second about whatever. Yeah. Like, was that a comment? Did you?
I did that.
You did do that.
I did that, and I think you could do that when you get older, once you establish yourself. Yeah. I wasn't doing that my first 5, 6 years.
Hey, you're a rookie. Hey, man, let me talk to you real quick.
Hey, Ronnie Lott, come here. Come here real quick, man.
About tackling. Like, what? Wait, when you were in, because it is rare, obviously, that you played college basketball too. How soon. You said one time like that obviously you knew you were a superior football player, right?
Yeah.
If you were equal at both, would you have leaned to basketball?
Oh, it would have been basketball for sure.
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, basketball, it's a lot more fun than football.
Yeah.
And because you're inside.
Yeah.
there's no 20 below.
Yeah.
In December.
Yeah.
It's not 100 degrees, 110 degrees out in Atlanta during the summer or Kansas City.
That shit is so brutal, man.
Oh, it's tough. Football's a tough way to make a living. It's a tough way. It's the most exciting sport. I mean,
yeah.
I think I can say that. I don't even have to say it. The viewers say that. But
yeah,
basketball it's a smaller group. It's not as dog eat dog world.
Yeah.
Like football's a man sport. Like it is. You will get bitched.
It's
if
so
you don't
savage,
play right.
man.
Yeah.
It's so sad. I mean, like, I think one of the things that hits you when you love football and you play it on an amateur level is that you get just around the higher level tiers of it, and you're like, this is so different. Like, this is like the levels of the athletes, the speed, the power that hits. You're like, this really is like gladiator shit.
Yeah,
These guys.
Yeah, it's just that even at the high school level, you have to go into that other dimension of, okay, like you said, like not nobody's dying, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's like you got to go there. You can't like not take it all the way. You got to be as aggressive as you possibly can.
Like that's what I love about coaches. Like that, even there's like they have like the lingerie football thing, and you think obviously if you're watching that, you're like, come on, man, like. Is there anything else on? Like, I mean, like they're not really. But then you watch this coach who's coaching, right? He's coaching the girls' lingerie stuff.
Yeah.
And listen to how this is exactly how the coaches I remember, right?
You gonna let that motherfucker mush you down now like that, and you ain't breaking that bitch's face right now? You mean to tell me you gonna allow that motherfucker to do what she done, and you didn't come out here and try to break her fucking neck, and even you can't find her teammate and break her fucking neck for what the fuck she done to you down there? You mean to tell me you ain't got that kind of evil streak in you? I would literally hike the ball and punch that bitch in the goddamn face. Are you crazy? Don't ever let anybody do you like that.
I love him. I mean, all right, it's a little, you shouldn't break necks.
No.
But the point is,
I can't condone that.
You can't condone that, but you can condone it's the mentality. It's the mentality of like, I remember like watching that clip reminds me of a 7th grade football coach who's like, are you going to let these guys just push you guys around like that?
That's the pregame speech, right?
Yeah, right. And then
back in the day.
Yeah. I mean, they wouldn't say break their necks, but they would say, if you're not going to hit somebody in the face, why do you even sign up to play this? And you go, starts putting it in your head when you're young.
Yeah. Be the hammer, not the nail.
Yeah.
You got to, bring it every time. Bring the pain.
Yeah.
And it's fun, but that's I think that's going away.
That right there?
I think I don't know how old that clip is.
Not in women's football. It's not. It might be going out of men's football, but it's just firing up the women's league. Well, break their fucking necks.
Well, they got I can't condone.
Yeah. Oh man, I love it so much. Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was I went to Chris Dolman's football camp when I was a kid. You remember Chris Dolman?
Yeah.
For the Vikings, right?
Yeah.
And
Hall of Famer.
And we would they bring, like, with those camps, they bring in all their friends and players. And there was one, I forget his name, man. There was a Packer who came in, who was like a running back. He was like, first of all, I don't even like football that much. And we were like, what? like you're in the NFL. He's like, I wish I could play basketball. Yeah. This shit is brutal. And then he started his thing. But like, he started off by telling us that he wished he was not in the NFL.
Football's changed a lot though. When I came in '97, it was that league of just God, what was the Oklahoma drill?
Yeah.
Bull in the ring type stuff.
Yeah.
They could, when you go over the middle, I mean, the game, they wanted to knock you out of the game.
Yeah.
Concussion, that word was never used. It was got your bell rung.
Rung.
Oh, you okay? Get back in the game.
Yeah.
But the NFL has done such a good job of changing that. Now the game is considerably safer, where they've taken the head out of the game and they've done it at the high. Like we were talking before. I have my son who played football last year.
Yeah.
It's different. They're coaching at that level too, and you see it now. Guys are or tackling, between the knee and the head. That's where you're supposed to hit.
Yeah.
And stuff happens once in a while. It's the NFL. It's always going to happen.
Of course. And people ask me, they go, because they'll know I like football, and they go, would you let your sons play football? And I go, yeah. And they go, really? Even with all this news? I'm like, first of all, if there's anything that I do, that I can credibly talk about, it's playing I played peewee and high school football. And my thought on it is that most of your hits in those years, most are it's form tackling. You're not playing against Tony Gonzalez every week.
Yeah.
You're playing against other fucking fat sophomores. So they're not impressive. I remember, I had Heath Evans on here because we played high school football against each other. And I remember that hitting you was different. Even back then, I can remember being in high school and being like, God, that guy's a truck, right? And then, of course, we graduate, we watch him go on to Auburn, and you're like, oh, yeah, that dude was notably different. But I go, you take that game, and then that's the only game where we're like, this is a problem hitting this guy. But everybody else, it's I go, could I have been concussed with him? Yeah, I probably was.
Yeah.
But if that one dude versus all those games, I don't know. I don't feel like I have to run away from the sport because there might be, somebody out there who's a fucking, rocket launcher or something. You know what I mean? It's not. I understand the comments of people saying if you are we're talking about D1, if you are going to D1, you're definitely going to feel that impact every play, and you need to be that level athlete too to be able to deal with it and so on and so forth. But I'm just not as freaked out about that little league stuff.
Yeah. Well, my kid, they played and they want to play. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Why would I deny you something that I did?
And they bought this house, kids.
Yeah.
You like this food? You like your clothes you're wearing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dad bought it with football.
Yeah.
So,
take it.
Yeah.
I tell him every day. It's my house.
Is your
Not yours.
Yeah.
But you take care of yourself too, though. So.
Yeah. Now I said you're an anomaly, and I mean it. I mean, you have to be first of all, how many NFL players do you think, current or former, are on flights reading books and taking notes about the book? That's what I saw you doing on a flight, and you're sitting there reading your book and taking your notes for yourself, I assume.
Yeah, it's for myself.
Yeah. I mean, what are we up to? Maybe three current or former players that would do that?
That would do that? You'd be surprised, but yeah, it's not a common thing.
For sure.
I don't know. Is it that common for anybody though?
Yeah. That's another good point.
Do people really want to?
No, that's true.
Books?
I don't know. I mean, you doctors. I don't know.
I'm a curious book. I did this at my Hall of Fame. So book changed my life. I never read when I was a kid, or high school, or college.
When did you start?
Barely even required reading. I wouldn't read the book. I'd get the Cliff Notes.
When did you start?
I've told this story a bunch. My second year in the league, I led the league in drop passes in the NFL and got benched twice. Got booed by the home crowd.
I don't remember that at all.
Oh yeah, it was. I was playing, but I got benched twice. And my stepbrother, my adopted brother Donnie, he sent me a book of quotes by Vince Lombardi. And I was I don't know if you know Vince Lombardi. Everybody knows Vince Lombardi. The greatest moment of a man's life is when he lies totally exhausted on the battlefield, glorious and winning.
Yeah,
all those quotes. And so off of that, I was pretty charged up. I'm like, well, this is some good stuff. I need this in the middle. The season was almost over, so I went out and bought his book, When Pride Mattered or whatever. It's a thick book, and I read the whole thing in 5-6 days because it was just speaking to me. It was a page turner. I couldn't put it down. And then based off of that, I was like, holy shit, I've been doing it the wrong way. I thought I was working hard. I thought I was doing it the right way. It wasn't because I was lacking, I was out partying and doing a bunch of stuff I shouldn't have been doing. I thought I was quote unquote doing it the right way, but there was another level there. And that book taught me that. And so off of that, I was like, well, I want some more of this. And I started reading like about Michael Jordan's routine. I started reading about Lou Holtz books, Pat Riley, Phil Jackson. Start going through all these books, and then I started getting into all these, and it just spiraled out of there. And books is this is great. It changed my life. And so that's why today, I always have a book that I'm reading.
Wow. So it not only like opened you, like obviously made you curious and you loved consuming the knowledge, but those books, or at least like in specifically some of these ones, helped change how you started to prepare for the game?
Changed everything.
Really?
Well, because you start reading about other people. Say you're a comedian and did, I don't know, who's the best comedian?
Right, like Chappelle or
Chappelle right
yeah.
now. So you're like, okay, there's a book on Chappelle, on his life and like how he, and it's out there, I'm sure.
Right.
Like, okay, what does he do? Like, why Chappelle? Why is he so funny? Like, what's making him who he is? I'm very curious.
He's like, well, I smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day, and I do 6-hour sets. And you're like, great, I'll pick up both of those.
6-hour sets,
dude. He will. He will. Not doing them right now, but in regular times, there's multiple. Like you can check it with the Punchline in San Francisco. I'm sure in Dayton. I know Melrose in the store. He would come in, commonly do 3 and 4 hours, but it's not what you're. It's not 3 and 4 hours of like just like when you watch a special.
Yeah,
it's him. That's how he basically writes, right? So he'll go up there, and everybody's so enamored with him, and he's such a master of not just being funny, but being interesting in conversation.
Yeah.
That he'll go on those long ones, just sit there. What do y'all want to talk about? Just start talking.
I've seen him.
And then it could be like 25 minutes of just
talking,
and there's no, you don't feel like you're at a comedy show, but you feel engaged.
Yeah.
And then when we all of a sudden hit like maybe 10 minutes of just rock and just, huge laughs. And then, something happens, starts talking about that. And all of a sudden you're 2.5, 3 hours in.
Yeah.
But he's very, very unique. And I don't know that type of preparation would even translate for more people. But I get what you're saying. Like, I'm just saying him specifically, very unique in just the ability to do that, Like you told me, Tom, go tonight, just go do 4 hours. I'd be like, no, I don't want.
I bet you could though.
I bet I probably could. If here's the thing, if you're in an environment where I think it helps in that kind of thing to be in a small space. Everybody wants to be there. In other words, they came to see you.
Yeah.
They're that interested in you. I can see going long. I could see that going long. I think what always kind of blew my mind was how long. I'd be like, you've got to be. I don't want to talk to anybody for fucking 6 hours.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to talk to my wife, my parents, for like 6 hours, man.
Yeah.
No. But like there's a couple other people that could do like those really long sets, but I think they have like a real stream of consciousness thing that they tap into.
Well, I believe all into that stuff too.
Yeah.
That it's like the Beatles. I don't know. There's a great book called Outliers. Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah, I've read that.
You read that book? Remember the story? I think that's where the
10,000 hours comes
10,000 hours types thing, and there's also talent and genetics
and the timing.
And the timing
has to work out.
But like with the Beatles, right? They were working at that place playing 8 hours a day.
Yes, and that 10,000 hours thing applies, I believe, 100% to stand up. Like when I think back on my own career, and some of us talk about this sometimes about like, remember those years where you go like, wow, man, like I was working a day job, and all week was about like getting to Saturday to go to a place that didn't even want me to go on stage, and I would do 10 or 12 minutes, and the joy of those 10 or 12 minutes would carry me through my next week. Like, you know what I mean? Like I so was like high off of that I would be like, I don't care about how shitty this job is. I can't believe I get to do that again next week. And then, shit gigs and bars where like they don't want to turn the TV off. You're like, how am I supposed to talk to these people? Your TV's on, And we used to always have this thing where we'd go. The worst was the Lakers in the playoffs, right? If you live in LA and you do comedy, like as soon as they made the playoffs, you'd be like, fuck, like shows are gonna be fucked this month because like people will go to shows less, and if you try to have a show during a game, they would be like, no, your show is waiting. Like the game is the priority. Like, so like those May, June shows, you were like, oh God, man, like please either let's just get past this or lose so that we can do shows.
Yeah. Well, being a comedian, I'm fascinated with comedians.
Yeah.
Like I watch all the little specials. Like there's that one, I don't know if you've seen it, called Dying of Laughter. It's a documentary. It's amazing.
Dying of Laughter. Which one is that?
Oh, it's amazing. I'm telling you, it blew me away, the process. And you talked about going out on the road. It's all about, and they have some really good, like I think Kevin Hart, like it's some headliners in there talking about it.
I gotta watch that.
You got to see it. You got to see it. You'll
Dying
love
Laughing? Is that it?
Yeah, Dying Laughing. I'm sorry. Dying Laughing. And they talk about their process and how you have to go out on the road, like you talked about, and you're playing in some little hobunk town in the middle of nowhere. And like the guy's like, he's like, I had to pay him to perform.
Oh, yeah.
And people are like on their lunch break, listening, not even listening to you.
We were talking about how we used to, in these early days, you'd be booked. Like someone would be like, okay, your spot's over here at this like restaurant or something. And you're like, okay. And you show up. And then right then you'd go, do the people at this restaurant know there's a show? And they're like, no. And you're like, wait a minute. So we're attacking them like with a show while they like, you mean they just want to have dinner with their spouse? And we're like, no. You're going to watch stand up. And they're like, I guess so. And I was like, oh my God. That sucks because they're like, it's not like they're like, I'm not a fan. They're literally like, I'm trying to eat.
Yeah, shut up.
And like, I didn't come to a comedy show. And you're like, well, you are now. You're at the show now.
That's what I'm saying. It's so fascinating about you guys. Like it's the scariest thing I could ever think of.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, like when I think of like the first spots I ever had, they are some of the most terrifying moments.
How do you
bombing? And
that's what they talk about a lot in there. Dying. It's actually I was crying watching that documentary because I'm seeing these comedians. They start crying because they go back to. They take us back to when they bombed.
Dude, it's the worst.
Be the worst feeling ever.
It would be like if it was like 4th and goal, and you caught the ball on the 1, and then instead of crossing to the goal line, you ran to the other end zone and then shit your pants. And then everybody was like, what happened to that guy? You're like, I bombed. That's what just happened. Yeah. It's the worst feeling.
Oh, it's got to be the worst. And it happens a lot though, right? It's not.
Well, it does.
At the beginning?
At the beginning, it happens definitely more. And it is like, what it is like, it's like an internal panic. It's funny. It could be 25 degrees outside, and if you're bombing, you'll start sweating, it's panic sweats, and you just feel like it's like the feeling of you want the parachute to open.
Yeah.
You're like, man, and especially if you have time, like they're like, you need to keep going. You like, sometimes when you're starting out, you're doing 10-minute sets. So if you're bombing, at least it's over in 10 minutes, As you're further along, you could start a set, eat shit with your first joke, and be like, well, I'm going to try to recover, and you don't. Yeah. And you're like, I have to do this for another half an hour, or like it's rough, man. Yeah.
Have you ever been booed off?
Yes,
you've been booed off.
They were like, please leave, yelling. They were
the whole
like,
crowd's like,
boo, you suck, fuck you. Yeah, like it was, really intense. Here's the thing, though.
I just couldn't imagine.
You know what a boo? Like that's not the worst.
I've been booed. I guess I have been booed, but
being booed off stage doesn't feel the worst. Because it feels unwarranted. Like it's so, you know what I mean? Like if somebody like says like, hey asshole, the fuck's like calls you out in a room, you might be like, oh my God, like it's just kind of embarrassing. But if everybody was screaming at the top of their lungs, you're like, hey, like this, it feels too much.
Uh-huh.
I almost feel like the worst bombs are quiet bombs where you're like, going for a laugh, and then you just hear like
nothing, like
somebody like cleaning their teeth, like, and you're like, okay, like that feels worse than like, because when someone's that upset, you're like, I'm just telling, like you're so mad, that you're yelling for me to leave. It just feels like But it was surreal. It was surreal.
But you guys are like a conductor too, at least what I've seen the comedy shows that I've gone to, like when somebody bombs and then the next guy up, I've had comedians, they'll be like, hey, I got to get the comedy, I got to get the laughter back in here.
Yes.
Because you guys, this person just ate shit.
Oh yeah. Like people don't realize what you want to follow in comedy is somebody who does really well.
Yeah.
Like when on those shows where it's a lineup of like 10 plus comics, sometimes people will think they're like, well, that guy sucked, so now you'll shine. Like, no, you want the guy to do well, get the room laughing and feeling good, and ride the wave. Yeah. Like the wave's already there. If somebody kills in front of you, you can actually jump on and just keep it going.
Yeah.
If somebody just eats shit or like says something that just ruins the room, you're doing the work to bring them back to being a regular show.
Tell me this. How do you deal with the bombing though? How do you, like, emotionally?
It's a good question. It is an experience, man. Like, the thing is, when you start off, you don't even know how to process it. You do things like psychological things, like tell yourself, it wasn't you, it was them. And then you start to, a lot of times, you record your sets. So you start going back and you go, oh, the phrasing or they didn't get it. Like you start to rationalize why you did poorly, like you would. It's like justifying a mistake or a bad decision. You start to like make it make sense to you.
Yeah.
The simple answer is that the only solution to bombing and having a bad set is having a good set. So like I remember nights where, like, even I don't know, a year ago or so, I remember doing a set in town at a place, and I did a joke that went fucking sideways. Like, people were like, "You should leave." Like they were upset about it, and it still sucked. I was like, I'm like 18 years in, and I was like, man, that sucks. So I just drove to another place, did a set with the same joke, and it killed. And then you feel like that the emotions of it, because if you leave after just that bombing set, you take that with you. You take that home.
It's gotta be hard to sleep.
You're hard to sleep.
Well, that's what they say. Comedians are. They're not right in the head. Right?
Not right. Yeah. Not right. Yes.
Is that what they say? I mean, like, you guys are psychopaths. Right?
The bombing will. Yeah, I've stabbed people. I punched a guy's fucking teeth out. I hit a guy with a brick one time. It was fun. Yeah. This episode of Your Mom's House is brought to you by Whoop. A lot of us are trying to get back at it, work on our fitness and health. There's a lot of challenges for us to make right now, and we need a little assistance. I get a lot from this thing. It's incredible. It's just something you put on your wrist that tracks absolutely almost everything you do, strain-wise, recovery-wise. It has a strain coach and a sleep coach. One of my favorite things is just getting that notification that says, hey, it's getting late in the day. You need to get this much sleep. You should try to go to bed by this time. And I actually follow it and I listen to it. And when I don't, I feel worse. And when I do follow what it tells me, I feel so much better. I love knowing the sleep I need to get. It also tracks all the strain, all the exercise you do. It's a big reason I can recommend this thing. Whatever you're trying to do health-wise, you need a Whoop. For our listeners today, Whoop is offering 15% off all memberships. Give Whoop a shot, and if it's not for you, they offer a 30-day return policy. No questions asked. Head over to Whoop, WHOOP.com. Enter your mom, YOURMOM, at checkout, and save 15% off. Join Whoop today and sleep better, recover faster, and train smarter. This episode is also brought to you by Babbel. If you've wanted to learn another language, this is a great, great tool to do so. Babbel has a really interesting approach. You can go take their courses, and basically with 10 to 15-minute lessons a day, you could be really on your way to mastering another language. You start with words and phrases, and then the sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations. I've been actually trying to do it with French. It's because I got a D in high school, and I'd like to master that. They've sold over 10 million subscriptions. It's incredible. If you want to learn another language, this is the way to do it. Right now, Babbel is offering our listeners 3 months free with the purchase of a 3-month subscription with promo code MOM. Visit Babbel.com. Use the promo code MOM on your 3-month subscription. That's BABBEL.com. Use the promo code MOM. Babbel, language for life. This episode is also brought to you by Quip. You already know about the amazing Quip electric toothbrush. So cool, sleek design, and they resend those replaceable heads, so you don't have to worry about are you using an old toothbrush. It just arrives, and you put it on. Now you can get their sleek, reusable floss pick. Super easy. Refill pod has 180 single-use plastic flossers. You restring with a click. Super easy to use on the go. And of course, so many people neglect flossing when it's so important. As is brushing, of course. You pair it with your electric toothbrush. Quip has the simple guiding features you need. Timed sonic vibrations. You can personalize your routine with over 9 premium brush colors, plus anti-cavity toothpaste for every taste in mint or watermelon. Right now, if you go to getquip.com/mom, right now you'll get your first refill free. That's your first refill free at getquip.com/mom. Spelled GETQUIP.com/mom. Quip. Better oral health made simple. Wait, I want to ask you about something. So wait, you for a long time, didn't you have Dick Vermeil as a head coach?
Yeah, for 5 years.
How much did he cry?
A lot.
Like a lot.
Yeah.
I used to see like those NFL films coverage things, and it was like it was just like a great win. He was like, "You guys,"
well, that was him. Like, he knew it was coming, and it was never hardly tears though.
Oh, really?
He would get choked. It was more choked up.
Choked up.
He would choked up. He'd be in the front, especially if he ever talked about Trent Green. Remember Trent Green, and he was in.
Yes.
He was our quarterback, and he had hurt his knee, and so that's when Kurt Warner came in, and Kurt Warner, just the rest is history.
Yes.
But that was Trent Green starting before the Rams, before they won that Super Bowl.
That's right.
And so Trent goes down, and he comes over to us, and that's what, anytime Dick would talk about Trent, you knew it was coming. But it was never tears. It was just like,
Choked up.
And Trent Green, he's a good boy. He's a good guy.
And would guys they would take it well?
You'd get it at the beginning. You're like, oh, like your eyes were getting wider. Like, whoa, this guy cares. But I think, like most coaches, I think great coaches are the ones that are nice and steady. Like Bill Belichick is the greatest.
Consistent.
Just consistent.
Yeah.
Never too high, never too low. Because you get those emotional coaches it's great when you're winning.
Yeah.
But when you start losing, that's when you start to lose the team. Because if you've only got 2 wins on the season and you're 2-10 or 2-8, you're tired of the shit. You're like, hey, I can't have any more. It's not working.
It's not working.
You're doing all this rah-rah stuff. It's not working. And you look at someone like Pete Carroll from the Seattle Seahawks. I love him. I would love to play for a guy like that.
Enthusiastic, energy, positive. He seems like a very positive guy.
But a couple of years ago, they went through that little losing phase.
Yep.
Like it was starting, like there was little rumblings that he's going to get fired and all this stuff, and the guys were getting tired of it. It's because when you're losing, nobody just I just want to go to work.
Do you, as a player, ever have the thing when you're a fan at home, right? And this is nothing new to you, but that fans watch games and they're like, why the fuck are they passing the ball in 3rd and whatever, Like, why aren't they running the ball in 3rd and 2?
Yeah.
When you're on a team and you're a player, do you guys ever have those same, right? Like, you're like, why are we
every game in the huddle? I'm complaining.
Really?
Well, if it's 3rd and 4, 3rd and 4 and 3rd and 5, that's where I'm like, hey, you come to the big dog.
Come call.
I can get this.
Yeah.
And then we run the ball or something like that. Or they call a play that I know that's coming. That's not going to come to me. I'm like, what the hell?
And you run off the side. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, because I'm your all pro. I've showed you. I've caught this 1,000 times. Like,
why
literally. Why wouldn't you call my number?
Yeah.
I don't understand it. But that's coaching. That's playing, and that's normal.
When do you know? Like, is there a moment, or is it a transition where you realize you're not just like in the NFL and a good player, but you're actually you're like, oh, I'm gonna probably be in the Hall. Like, is there, you know what I mean? Like, it's so Hall of Famers. Like, you guys you're the outliers of the outliers. You know what I mean? Like, it's so remarkable to be in that group.
Pretty special group.
It's such a special group. I mean, and I think a lot of fans, like, if you really follow the games and you realize that, like, man, these are the standouts of like the fraction of the percentage of people that make it to the NFL, and then these are like the very, very best. Yeah. Is it like through your career you're like, oh, well, I guess this is building to that?
You start to hear it from people.
People start saying it.
I remember Kellen Winslow, who's a tight end in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Played for the Chargers.
Senior.
Yeah.
Junior's got a little extracurricular stuff going on. Yeah. Sorry.
Not right now.
Yeah.
So anyways, I was doing something at a golf chair, and I'd gone to a couple Pro Bowls by then, and he comes up, and he's like my guy, I look up to the tight end, And he comes up to me and he said something. He goes, "Hey, Hall of Famers over there." And he was talking to me. And it was the first time someone ever said that to me. And it's coming from Kellen.
Yeah.
Like, or at least that's the first time I ever heard it.
And are you like 10 years in? Or
I'm about 7 years in to the NFL. So I'd gone about 5 Pro Bowls at this point.
Okay.
And so I was on my way.
Yeah.
But you still don't Hall of Fame, like it's really, there's only 200 when I got in, there was only 226. So now there's 231 players.
Yeah.
There's like 60
that's
executives
right,
and
they
coaches
have like
and
broadcasters
stuff like that.
yeah.
But players, that's it.
That's really small, man.
1 years.
That's really small.
Yeah. So you don't think, at least I didn't. At least that was, people were like, "How does it feel? Did you always think you'd be a Hall of Fame?" I'm like, shit, no.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy thing to say. Was it hard to, because I keep going, one of the things that I appreciate the most, not just in athletics, I mean, in all careers, but yeah, especially in athletics, is longevity, right? And, we talked about that you played smart, you're taking care of yourself. Is it hard to motivate yourself for season 15?
Yeah, it is. It does. I mean, you go through a little lulls. It was harder in the middle of my career.
Yeah.
Where, I was showing up and it was the same, because football, it's a bunch of it's routine.
Yeah.
It's just doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. There's no real, besides the games, the week, there's no creativity. There's nothing you haven't seen before. So that got kind of old for me. I'd have to look for ways and I'd write like little letters to myself. Little ways to keep motivating myself. Like they say Jordan would do that. He'd make shit up in his head to get himself motivated. And that's what I would do. I'd be like, "Hey, they're doubting you," before I'd write it.
Really?
They're doubting you. They think you're old. They think you're overrated. They're saying such and such is better than you.
You would write that note?
I'd write it to myself. And then I'd read that before the game. And I'd be like, yeah, it's not going to, it's not true.
That's awesome.
But towards the end of my career, I started to savor because the window was over. Like after you get to year 12, you're like, shit, I only got 1 year left.
Yeah.
And then I'd play that. So I would be like, okay, I'm going to put everything I have into it, enjoy it. I really enjoyed myself. When I got to to Atlanta, my last 5 years, I was Kansas City 12 years and then went to Atlanta for 5 years. And I was only going to play 2 years in Atlanta, but I kept coming back.
And you're enjoying your teammates.
I was enjoying my teammates, and they were paying me pretty well.
Yeah, that helps. That always helps.
When I got to the league, there was a difference. It wasn't like these $500 million contracts. Dude. It wasn't like that at all. I remember my rookie deal, I signed a 6-year deal for $7 million. And I got a $3 million signing bonus, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not out of touch.
Yeah.
But comparatively speaking, that's not shit compared to what you're getting now. I remember back then the guys on my team were like, "Damn, Tom, top 7, rich boy." Like whoa.
What was the first thing you bought that was like, that wasn't cheap? You know what I mean? Like, did you buy something stupid?
A house.
What about a house?
I bought a house for $270,000
in KC,
in Kansas City.
Wow.
To finish the pool,
was it like?
290,000.
Was it 9.5 bedrooms? Or whatever?
5,000 square feet. Out in the suburbs of Kansas City.
Wow. That's wild. I also look back now, like with some age on me, I go, I have way more compassion for young guys not knowing how to handle their money.
Oh,
like, when I was the age of the player, I was like, why are you spending all your money? But then as you get older, you're like, oh yeah, like who the fuck's ready for like whatever, $3 million or $25 million at 22?
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't know how to handle that then.
No, who does? I mean, musicians don't. Those
No.
actors don't. Those young kid actors giving Justin Bieber, that much money. Why do you expect them not to go a little crazy?
Of course.
And everybody tells you how great you are, and you got millions of dollars to get whatever you want.
And why? And then like most people probably are like, yeah, this is always going to happen. This, you know what I mean? These checks are gonna. I'm 22. These are going to come in all the time, and then you have it.
And then you start if you're a fan of the nightlife.
Yes.
Which I was a good fan of the nightlife. I enjoyed.
You had your good times?
Yeah, I enjoyed going out. I was single for 10 years.
Oh, you had a
NFL.
real good time.
Yeah, I enjoyed myself.
What was the best city to go to for having a good time?
Miami and Vegas.
Okay. So nothing's changed. Okay. Good.
I like Miami and Vegas.
I mean, you can't really.
I still do.
Yeah. I mean, if you can't have a good time in Miami,
yeah,
you got a problem.
Especially, the Latino in you, right?
Yeah, of course, man.
Yeah.
I mean, parties, like, I've been to Miami where they're like, cool, we'll meet up at midnight. And you're like, wait, what? They're like, we're going to meet up at midnight.
Yeah, a buddy of mine has a Halloween party out there every year. And I've never gone to it because of football. But on the invite, it says from 9 o'clock till 10 a.m.
Yeah.
9 to 10 a.m. the next day.
That's a party.
It's a
dude.
party.
That's a party.
I'm like, are you serious?
And if it has that little LaShawn McCoy touch where he's like, no males allowed. You know what I'm saying? We're not looking for men to come. He has like his circle of friends is like, it's just going to be us and ladies.
Oh, man.
Like, that's a good party.
I'm getting older now. I can't do it like I used to. If I can get to 3 a.m., 3 a.m., that's a real good. That's rare for me.
Yeah, I've changed completely. I mean, before we had kids, we were just talking about like how I would go to bed regularly, like on a Tuesday night at 2:30 in the morning, and wake up at 10 to 11, and be like, what am I gonna do today? Yeah. And now we are up at 6:30 to 7 every morning, and by noon I've done 10 things. Like, you know what I mean? I've had a workout and I've did meetings and email. It's just a complete change. And I feel like my alcohol tolerance is, I mean, I'm like a child. Yeah. Like I have a couple drinks and I feel it for 3 days.
I don't drink that much anymore.
Yeah.
Just a little Modelo here and there.
And what,
tequila.
Your joints, legs, everything's fine? You're good?
Yeah, I am very cognizant of, I'm really into health. And biohacking and so I intermittent fast.
You do?
Yeah, and I the magnesium supplementation. You take it up. Okay. MCT oil. I do sauna, cold showers.
Oh wow, you're really
meditate,
into it.
All that stuff.
Wow.
To get your mind, body, spirits going.
Do you prepare? I imagine without knowing that you would have a real preparation for like leading up to Sundays going on the air. Right? Yeah. Like you take care, like a whole routine.
Got a routine. What time I'm going to go to bed. What time I'm going to wake up.
How early are you there on a Sunday? I imagine it's early.
5 a.m.
Wow.
Well, that's the wake up time.
That's the wake. Okay, that's the wake up time.
I get around 4:45, 5 a.m. Wow. And we're on set at 5:45.
No shit.
Yeah, getting ready. So
this is something I wanted to ask you. So I imagine that a lot of people that when you're playing and that it's game week, we're playing the Chiefs, we're playing the Falcons. And then they go, fuck, like I gotta take care of Gonzalez this week. This is gonna suck, right? But who did you ever say like, oh, this is gonna be some work this week?
I don't know if I ever had that attitude where I was like,
no, just like I want to
bring it. Usually it's honestly I didn't really care about the other play. I should answer this question. So like Rodney Harrison.
Okay.
He's a thumper back in the day. He probably wouldn't even play that much now because the way his style of play, he couldn't do that nowadays. That physicality.
Really?
Take your head off.
Oh, right.
Come over the middle. You're like,
I'm going to lay you out.
I gotta be careful. I think it was Cam Chancellor, the strong safety.
No shit.
He's 6', and I got we had some battles and I got him a bunch of times. And he got me a couple times. But he was 6'3", 230 pounds playing strong safety.
Like the safety position really grew over the last, I mean, like all positions, but I've met too where I'm like, you play safety, dude? Like they're so tall, so long. And he was laying people out.
Oh, like putting them out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that was just right when the rules were changing. So you could still play. That style of play, it doesn't, that big knock your head off guy over the secondary, it's not there anymore.
And what about like
you can't do it. It's against the rules.
Because obviously you get you're running routes, but you're blocking on is there horrible memories of blocking anyone?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a mismatch for us.
Yeah.
It's probably the biggest mismatch in football. Yeah. It is. It's the biggest mismatch in football. We have it both ways as tight ends.
Right.
Blocking a defensive end. We're 250 pounds on average or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit less than that. And those guys are around 290 pounds.
Right.
And so it's not fair. They're they're benching 500 pounds. We bench 350 or whatever. It's just they're just bigger physically.
These are like rhinos. Man.
So that sucked blocking those guys.
Yeah.
And you have to be crafty because I can't outpower you.
Yeah. Like Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's a kind of I guess, hybrid outside rusher, linebacker type.
I would rather block Khalil Mack, though, because he's a little bit smaller than the big traditional Reggie White defensive end.
Yeah.
Or Michael Strahan. When he played defensive end, I'd be ready for him like, damn, his big old ass, like he's 290 pounds. Like, it's just, I'd rather go against the guy who's 260, like Khalil Mack.
Sure.
Because at least I'm quick. I'm really quick, so I can just get in front of him. Yeah,
Sure.
you'll outpower him, but I just got to hold on for 3 seconds.
3 seconds.
Get the back by.
Sure.
You know? So that was always. But then on the opposite, I have the biggest mismatch in the passing game.
Right.
Because at least for back then, now these linebackers are really getting bigger, faster, stronger. But I'm going against a linebacker that I know I'm faster than.
Sure.
And I'm going against a strong safety or a corner who's way smaller than me. So I outweigh you by 30 pounds.
So they're either going to throw it up or you're going to.
Yeah, just throw it up. Even if you guard me. I was guarded so many times, I just jump over you and catch it. So.
Yeah, and you have the basketball hops too.
Yeah.
Like you're not. Yeah, that sucks, man. I mean, yeah, I feel like I used to watch those like Reggie White highlights of the hump move, you know, and like no tape, no gloves, just like, oh, I just woke up and washed my hands. Here we go, and just throwing people. The thing about these highlights, like the clips now that I always remind myself of, is that when you see somebody just like getting bodied or burnt, you know, it's like, yeah, but the guy that's getting his ass kicked in that play is a badass. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're watching that play. I watched it so many times where DK Metcalf caught Buda Baker, and I was like, yeah, but you know Buda runs like a fucking 4.3 40 or something, right? Like that dude's lightning fast. This shit is unbelievable to me, man. Yeah. Like, and he's starting at least 10 yards back, you know, from him.
That's a track right there. And that guy got in front of him and he had to restart.
He had to restart. I mean,
that was incredible. When I saw that, I was on my couch. I was jumping up and down.
Yeah.
You know, like all athletes out there got it. Like this made us jump out of our seats.
Oh, yeah.
This is just like Patrick Mahomes throwing her behind the back shoulder.
Yes.
Like that was equivalent to that. It's something that'll be on his highlight when he's done playing.
Yeah. I mean, I remember seeing that I kind of like peeked into the combine last year. I wasn't like following it intensely, but they were like, I remember seeing a time. And they're like, you know, this dude weighs like 235. And I was like, what? Because he ran a really crazy 40. Yeah. But to me, I felt like what would be embarrassing was that Khalil Mack thing. Because I identified with the offensive lineman. The one on this play where, like after the play, there's Mack and then the guys, and then he just throws him. I was like, I'm 78. I'm 78, and I'm like going back. I'm like, did everybody see that? Like asking myself, oh God, is that going to be on SportsCenter?
No, poor guy. That guy's a rookie too.
Yeah, he's a rookie, and then he's like, oh, I'm still pushing. And he's like, oh, I'll just
judo swing you.
Oh my God, he's like 330, and you're getting like, you're like, he has no memories of that ever happening, besides that play.
Oh, I love it. And that's when you. Like the average guy who sees the football and they're like, oh, I could have done that or whatever. It's like, what? If you only knew how big and explosive someone like Khalil Mack or Aaron Donald is.
Oh my God, man.
It's ridiculous.
You know, I do this podcast with Bert Kreischer, and we were having like challenges. Like we challenge each other to things, right? We play tennis. We're going to play one-on-one. He goes, do you think we could like double team Aaron Donald like as a thing? And I was like, that happens in the NFL, and he wins. What are you talking about? He's like, so should we do it? I go, I'll tell you what, I would love to watch you do it. And then I'll ride in the back of the hospital, the ambulance with you. Yeah. Like, no, we can't do that, dude. We'll die.
They had Pros versus Joe.
Yes,
I think Strahan hosted it.
Yeah. That was, I remember watching, what was his name? Slash, Cordell Stewart. I remember that specifically. That the regular dude was like a regular, like just goofy guy who was like, okay, Cordell, let's see what you got. And like the other pros on that episode, like there was a baseball player and a basketball player, and they were like, dude, you have no idea. And Cordell Stewart laid down, like it was a goal line. It was like an Oklahoma drill. It was like, it put his shoulder down and just trucked this.
Him. Yeah.
Oh, brutal.
Kevin Green was on there too. And I think I remember him just lighting somebody up.
Yeah.
Those guys all had to sign waivers.
Of course.
If you die, it's on you.
And by the way, you might. Like, dude, there's, I mean, nothing better than what, I mean, I don't want to see like it happen to some guy who didn't ask for it, but some guy who's like, you know what, Tony Gonzalez, you ain't shit. And I'm going to show you right now, like, okay, let's do it. Let's line up and see how it goes. The separation of athleticism is quite different. Yeah.
That's why I love. So I played pickup basketball a lot. I did that all throughout my career. That was my off-season training.
Really?
I'd play in the pro leagues. I played I played for the Miami Heat. Went and played for their summer league team. Tried out Pat Riley.
Yeah,
was my coach.
Yeah,
and Spoelstra, Eric Spoelstra.
Yeah.
But anyways, but I'm not a pro. Like
right.
I'm good. I'm right on that tier. Like I maybe could have went pro, but I would have never like been a starter.
Right.
But I maybe could have made a roster or whatever. And I'd go play pickup basketball with all these guys that think they're really good.
Right. Like in the neighborhood.
In the neighborhood.
Yeah,
and really good. Like they're good, but they played probably high school basketball or whatever. And I'm just dominating them. And these guys like really think they have a shot.
Yes.
To go play pro. Like I can.
Yeah.
Because you crossed up your friend, your buddy.
Yeah.
Works at the the department store.
Yeah.
Like it's not the
same thing.
Like
dude.
people don't understand the levels.
Yeah.
Of competition as you move up to the professional ranks.
Oh my God.
It's night and day. Literally, it's night and day.
I've told this story before, but like I remember being in high school, being a two-way starter and like having Division I fantasies, right? Like the natural thing, like I want to play, like watch the games, I want to play. And I go with a friend of mine who was highly recruited and played at D1 level. I went with him to a Miami game. It was just back in the OB Orange Bowl, and we're standing on the sidelines, and we're just standing there, and they're playing Syracuse, and those guys came out of the tunnel, and I'm looking at like my position players, and I'm eye level with their numbers. Like I'm seeing here, and I was like, I'm definitely not going to play Division I. No. I was like, oh shit, these guys would kill me.
It's just genetics. But
it was like that's all I needed. And I was like, all right, that's clear. Like these guys are monsters, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, all dudes were like your height or bigger, and they were like 315, 320. I was like, this is not
athletic too.
Quick dudes. Yeah. Dude, it was a whole other thing. It was a whole other thing. Did you talk shit? Were you a trash talker at all?
No. I found when I did that would take me out of my game.
Interesting.
But I enjoyed it when somebody else would talk to me.
You did?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It would fuel you or what?
Oh yeah. Like it gave me, like that's all I needed. I'd want you to.
What kind of trash would get talked to you?
Well, especially like you ain't shit.
Yeah.
Oh nothing.
Yeah.
That's the normal. You ain't shit. That's probably the big. You're a bitch.
You ain't making the Pro Bowl today, Tony.
like that.
Yeah.
And I was just like okay. Yeah. And my biggest comeback was always, especially when you go to the Pro Bowl, you're playing against the best of the best.
Yeah.
So like someone like Cam Chan, me and him aren't going to talk shit to each other. It's normally it's not going to happen because we have that mutual respect for each other.
Yeah.
It's always the shit talking always comes from the guy that doesn't even, like I don't even know who you are.
Right.
And I would tell him that on the field.
Yes, that I love.
That's the way I would talk shit.
That's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, it's like I don't
There's
even know
that
who
great
you are.
clip of what is his name? What was the running back for the Texans? He a few years back.
Arian Foster.
Where it's like there's a clip that was like kind of viral where someone was like, yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about. He goes, turn around, what's your name again? Turn around, let me see. I don't even know who you are, man.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was all about like, you know my name, I don't know your name.
Yeah.
So I love that shit. I always said that I would pay if the NFL was like, hey, there's a package where you can pay $1,000 and this season you can have the field mic pumped into the broadcast. I'd be like, how's 2,000 sound? Because that's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
I would love to hear that. It bums me out when it's all bleeped and I'm like, oh no, I want to hear the real shit talking.
Oh, you would love it.
Yeah, I want the locker room, like this Turkish was it soccer coach? Have you seen like when you leave that there's less rules, like this is the kind of stuff I want to see on an NFL broadcast. All right, halftime, let's go. What's going on, coach?
What the? Shut up.
Yeah.
That can't be real.
That's real.
There's no way that's real.
That's real. That's a Turkish soccer coach who was like, you guys are fucking embarrassing.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's awesome, right?
I wish.
You ever seen Year of the Bull?
No.
You never seen that documentary?
Nuh-uh.
Dude, you got to watch Year of the Bull. Year of the Bull follows Miami Northwestern High School's football team for a season. And this is in the early 2000s. Miami Northwestern has produced, I mean, think about this. This is when the movie came out, which is at least 10 years ago. Something like 20 NFL players. Mm-hmm. I mean, like for one high school, And then like countless, D1 players. And it's in Liberty City, which is a rough part of Miami. And the coaches are the most aggressive. Oh, yeah. That shit right there, times 10.
Slapping people? I've never seen anything like that.
Oh.
That's amazing.
Dude, the opening scene.
What's wrong with that guy?
The opening scene to Year of the Bull is it's halftime, and I think at the state championship game, and they're in the locker room. And this dude, they have helmets on, but he has a glove on, and he's just smashing dudes' heads in. And he just says, why is the defense not working? That's it. 50 times. Why is the defense not working? Why? To every dude's head. Everyone's like, fuck, man. They're in not like, hey, let's switch to fucking man coverage. Oh, just man. Why is this not working? It's wild, dude.
Oh yeah. Man. Have you seen Coach Snoop? Coach Snoop, he's
when they kicked the guy off the plane?
I don't know if I saw that. Oh, yeah. They kicked him out because he was talking to the kids wrong, right?
Talking shit, and they kicked him out. He's like, he's passionate, man. He's passionate about it. Dude, you got kicked off the flight.
Yeah, well, it was a little half dead. I think that was his name.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, talking that you would think that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, dude, it's intense.
I'm out of touch. I'm out of touch.
All right, now we're gonna play Rate Those Tits. We're gonna show you 10. I'm just kidding.
Where's my manager? She's gonna freak out.
I'm just kidding. You got to run though, right? You said you got to run.
So. Yeah, we said how much time do I got? Yeah, I gotta go.
Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, I really appreciate you coming by. Thank you very much for this. It's fun. You're fun. It's fun to talk to you, man. I wish I could talk to you for a long time. Congratulations on all your success. Amazing, obviously, playing career and broadcasting. Excited to see what you do next. So thanks for coming by, man.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So that was it. I had a really good time talking to Tony. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this. Leave a comment. Tell me if maybe people you want to see more of a one-on-one conversation with. Hope we can do it a lot more. And we'll see you soon.
Good rising. Hi, babe. On this great Saturday. Hi, babe. Great Saturday. I've been looking at your picture so long, babe. And they magnify my eyes, babe. Turn it. I turn into a telescope when I see your page. When I see your page. Turn into a telescope when I see your page. You feel so good to me, babe. That when I meet you and you talk to me, I want you to melt me like hot chocolate candy do. And not with hot bro, but we cool. I love you, babe. You melt me every day. You feel so good to me, babe. Hi, babe. You feel so good to me, babe. Help me every day. You feel so good to me, babe. Turn into a telescope when I see your page. You melt me every day. Turn into a telescope when I see your page. Help me every day. Turn into a telescope when I see your page. Help me every day. Turn into a telescope when I see your page. Turn into a telescope when I see your page. Help me every day. Turn into a telescope when I see your page. Help me every day. Turn into a telescope when I see your page. Help me every day. Good rise.
Hi, thank you for watching that episode of Your Mom's House. I really appreciate it. If you want to see more, you can click on any of these videos in this general area. And also, if you haven't subscribed, please do. It helps feed our cats. We don't have any cats.